All right. Our first of two title fights at UFC 263 sees the UFC men's flyweight champ, Deiveson Figueiredo, coming in as the minus 192 favorite in the rematch with Brandon Moreno, who's now lined as a plus 177 underdog on the return. Figueiredo is lined at plus 130 to win inside the distance, a prop that has been steamed all week heavily, having been bet down from like plus 210 to where it is now. And then Brandon Moreno, long shot odds at plus 550 to defeat Figueiredo by stoppage, and at plus 305 to win by decision. The fight goes the distance. No prop has been steamed heavily throughout throughout fight week as well, with the no prop moving from plus money last Saturday to currently sitting as high as minus 140. Look at the line movement here between these two fighters. It's pretty interesting. Figueiredo opened as a minus 275 favorite before the fight was announced, immediately following last year's initial meeting. When the fight was officially announced back in March, the market came in on Moreno a little bit, pushing Figueiredo from that minus 275 to about minus 250. And then the market was relatively calm from that point until fight week. And then the narrative of Figueiredo's issue with cutting weight came to fruition on Friday afternoon as the champion took on, he took an hour and 59 minutes and 20 seconds to make weight, leaving just 40 seconds to spare. Narrowly, could have been honestly stripped of the title. The fight could have been called off, and it would have been the first time we ever saw a champ not make weight in the UFC. So with that, support has come in heavily on Moreno, pushing him to as low as minus 175, considering he was, as high as plus 215 when talks of the rematch, and then he was plus 200 up until late May. He was still in that plus 200 range. All right, tail of the tape. Figueiredo comes in with just one loss in his professional MMA career, 21-1 with a 9-1-1 UFC record. 85% finish rate with 9 wins by TKO. He gives up 2 inches of height and reach to his opponent, Brandon Moreno, who managed to use his size relatively well in their first meeting. Figueiredo is 33 years old, 6 years older than the 27-year-old Moreno. At flyweight, that could be a factor here. All right, let's look at the division trends because these are very interesting. Coming into UFC 263, the favorite in the men's flyweight division has absolutely dominated over the last 18 months. 29 of the last 38 fights at men's 125 pounds has gone 29, 28, and 1 on the money line for almost 9 units profit. So Moreno is going to try to become just the 9th underdog in the UFC flyweight division to cash, and I'm pretty sure a couple of those, or one or two of those 8, is probably Moreno cashing as an underdog. Although he wasn't an underdog against Royval, but he definitely was against Kai Kara France. So that brings us to the betting trends for a friend, the Assassin Baby Brandon Moreno. Moreno has won 3 of his 10 UFC appearances by way of stoppage, going 3-7 for 13.2 units on the inside the distance prop. He's won 7 of his last 11 octagon appearances, which includes his LFA title fight back in 2019. Before returning to the UFC, he's gone the distance in 7 of his 10 octagon appearances, turning a profit of plus 4.4 units on the fight goes the distance prop. which is pretty interesting. When we look at Figueiredo's betting trends here, he's won 7 of his 11 UFC appearances by way of stoppage. He's turned a profit of plus 10.38 units on the inside the distance prop. He's got 9-1-1 his UFC career, profiting for plus 7.2 units on the money line since his 2017 UFC debut. The under has gone 6-5 for plus 4.5 units profit in his career, with just 4 of his 11 bouts going the distance. All right, let's talk about best bets. Basically, the reason we have this rematch is, beyond it being a close fight, Figueiredo took the fight on short notice. He barely had a training camp. He really didn't have a training camp at all. And then also he had some issues cutting weight and was in the hospital the night before, which explains why the line was the way it was when it opened. And, even after these guys went the full 5 rounds and fought to a draw, it made sense that Figueiredo would be such a big favorite because, the market was feeling that, it's this time it's going to be different. But, at the same time, let's be perfectly clear. Brandon Moreno, apart from him just getting better and better every time that we see him, he also didn't have a training camp for this fight. He was on the same card that Figueiredo was on. Brendan Royval was injured in the fight, and it was kind of just a freak stoppage. And so he fought just 3 weeks later. So, he still fared very well considering he didn't have a training camp at all. So I think with that in mind, we're going to see an improved Moreno as well. So, there's some factors here that need to be mentioned because Figueiredo has missed weight in title fights before. He had a shot against Joey Benavidez in February of last year, and that fight turned into a one-way title fight where only Benavidez could win the belt because Figueiredo missed weight. Fast forward to December of last year, he didn't miss weight, but he had, a tough time rehydrating, which is reportedly how he got the stomach virus that put him in the hospital. Now, who's to say that this type of thing doesn't happen again? He didn't miss weight today, but he managed to make weight with 40 seconds to spare. So who's to say he doesn't get ill again? He definitely didn't look good. His eyes were sunken in. And I had a sneaking suspicion about this when on the Thursday for the press conference with the sunglasses and, the swaying back and forth. So who's to say he's not 100% again? And this guy, I don't know how many more cuts he has left to 125 pounds. This guy has a rough weight cut every single time he goes out there. You look at this guy, he is absolutely massive for 125 pounds. And almost to the point where I don't know how many more times we see him in this division, with or without the belt. And then another factor, and this needs to be talked about, and a lot of people who have followed us since we started, the post show back on odds.com, me and Bleed, we've talked about this a bunch. And as much of a fan as I am of Figueiredo, there's no denying that this guy is he's a dirty fighter. I want to go as far to say he's a cheater, but he'll clearly do whatever it takes to win. We saw the headbutt here in the first Benavidez fight, and I'm not saying it was intentional, but it definitely led to the finish of the fight. And these things tend to always happen. And then, in the second one, Figueiredo cuts him open. He's on top of him. And then he's kind of he's got his hand in his cut, which, I don't think that's illegal, but it's still dirty. And he's just ripping his cut, basically just putting his hand right in his cut. And then Benavidez gives his back. And then that ends up what leads to that brutal rear naked choke that we all remember. And then UFC 255, where Figueiredo just clearly grabs the cage against Alex Perez, which kind of led directly to him getting that submission. Maybe not directly, but if you see, he gets he prevents himself from getting taken down. He reverses the position, and it's just one of those things where it led directly to the finish in a sense. And it's just one of those things that it just keeps happening every time. And then UFC 256, Figueiredo, at one point, Moreno takes him down, and Figueiredo does the same thing, kind of, where he just rakes him in the eye from the bottom. And that's basically what leads up to, the low blow, I think, in the third or the fourth round. And that's why he had the immediate point deducted, because he had already had the warning of the eye poke, and I think there might have even been a cage grab in there too. So, my point is that he's a dirty fighter. So who's to say that he's not going to get another point deducted again? And who's to say that he's not going to have conditioning issues again, based on how he's feeling, considering how bad of a weight cut he has. And, these are all outside intangible factors, but you got to try to consider everything when you're backing a fighter here. And if you're backing Deiveson Figueiredo in this one, I think the best way to do it is probably on the inside the distance prop. But at that current price of plus 130, you're getting you're getting little to no value. And I see here on the graphic plus 105 at 5 times. So you got to shop a little bit to get that plus 130. And even then, considering you were able to get plus 210, it's hard to do. And with the most recent developments involving Figueiredo barely making weight, and there's just been a tsunami of money that's come in on Moreno, pushing Figueiredo to as low as minus 190. So I think if you're backing the champ in this spot, you're better off just taking the discount and staying away from any method props, because there's no really telling what Deuce de Guerra is going to do here, how he's going to look. There's a lot of question marks and obstacles that Figueiredo has brought upon himself here as champion. And it seems as though this fight might be the toughest task for a 33-year-old flyweight that's having a tough time making weight, even as champion. And if you're backing Moreno here, there's probably a case to be made for betting the Assassin Baby to pull off the stoppage at that long shot plus 550. However, considering Figueiredo has never been finished himself, you're probably just better off taking that big plus money line. Even at don't set yourself to be middled by a 5-round decision. And from the time that this fight was announced until just a few days ago, this fight was lined unreasonably. Brandon Moreno realistically probably has like a 35% chance of winning this fight in a vacuum, which, we saw value on him at plus 185 or better, in my opinion. And now with these most recent developments concerning Figueiredo's condition, you might be able to make a case for even betting Moreno at this number right now at plus 177. You can get even higher at other books. So, as far as the betting total goes, with the numbers not necessarily agreeing with this market movement, it seems to be like a general consensus among bettors that this fight will not go the distance, when that was the exact opposite market opinion about a week ago. We've seen some heavy movement on the no here. When you're factoring in all the tangibles concerning the weight cut, and as well as the fans being in attendance, which we talked about here a lot of time on the post show, that these events with the fans are seeing a lot of unders, where back at the Apex we're seeing a lot of overs. So you begin to understand why the odds makers might have made a mistake on this one when they put the plus side on the no when this opened. So I think even now, with the markets come in and corrected that mistake, but I think even now at the current price of minus 125, I think you're still managing to squeak out a little bit of value on that prop. That should probably be closer to minus 150. So yeah, I'm gonna go with a full unit on Brandon Moreno to win the fight. I got him at plus 190 via Bet Online. And then under 4.5 rounds, another full unit, minus 125 via William Hill. So shop around, but those are my plays. And hit up sparksports.ca for the rest of the content for UFC 263. We got best bets, we got UFC betting trends, and we got the look ahead tomorrow night. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching, and talk to you later.